just know that first and foremost. This is not a sales pitch. But what also happens is that we're documenting this in real time. So I kind of loathe going back to explaining things that I explained in the beginning, just because I always want to, because there's more to the knowledge. There's so much, right? And there's no limitation to it. So there's always something new coming across to actually enjoy. But many people that are jumping in at that point are like, okay, you completely missed me. I kind of feel what you're saying and I connect to it. I resonate. Like if I resonate with what you're saying, but I don't really understand what you're saying. And when people kept presenting that a few times, I started saying, well, yeah, and it's because, we have this certain way of how we deliver knowledge, and we need to now just separate that into particular topics and then just exhaust those topics. So that's what the university is. The university is our attempt to separate information into these new type of topics and fields, so that way you can start to really take apart yourself and then put yourself back together. So if you want to join the university, we'll offer all Positive Head users 20% discount on the university, 20% discount on products like SheLegit. And then those links will actually be in the description or during checkout at thesecretenergy.com/store. You can actually use the coupon code Positive Head. And so there it is. So you'll have that. And then last but not least,
either the description of this podcast, you'll see a link there, or use the Positive Head code upon checkout. Is that correct?
Exactly. Well, they would need to use the Positive Head coupon code during checkout in order to get the discount, just so the system knows that it's actually checking in. But the links are in the description, or you could just go right to the site and use the coupon code.
Okay, got it.
The last thing is that the university is in semester 2. It's actually semester 3 coming up. But instead of going right into semester 3, I realized we need to demystify the whole money situation. We need to get people into the realm of power with themselves and on their way. And so we create ambassador training, which is really more dynamic. It doesn't just focus on the whole spiritual metaphysical side of things. It also addresses things going on in real life and how you can get yourself to another level. Also connecting you with tribe. And so we've just basically demystified it. And that's the whole open source wealth thing that I'm talking about. The second link will be about that if you want to check that out a little bit more. And again, I'm not going to drill into any of this right now because there's more than enough information on those pages to get familiar with what we're doing. But as I said, there's 2 aspects to this. There's our spiritual growth, which is always got to go on. And then there's what's going on in the matrix and the fake matrices, which we need to master in order to get the results that we're looking for as rapidly as possible, so we can move on to continuously expanding and get to the fun. So that way words like work no longer exist for us. It just becomes connection, resources, solutions, fun.
Opportunity.
Exactly.
Expansion opportunity. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I really appreciate you doing that. I mean, that's a great discount, and I know you've worked really hard for many years to put all this content together. And with University, can you go back to, once someone signs up, they can go back to the first set of courses and kind of catch up if they want to?
For sure. With University, that's what you do is you actually purchase a semester. So you get, I believe it's 8 classes in a semester. Also, just so everyone knows, what we do is we build tons of value. Like I get people all the time saying, hey, man, you need to be charging a couple $1,000s for all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, what I stopped doing, especially with certain things, is giving them away for free, because then after a while, it's not perceived as having any value. And of course, a lot of time and a lot of attention goes into this. And this is what we all need to know, is that the time and the intention and the energy that we put into stuff, it's better if that's reciprocated. And then that allows us all to grow. So it's the same thing with this, is that we have a premium there. But, to make it clear with, our own consciousness and what we're really doing, we just keep trying to see, well, how much more can we pump into this? And so you get 8 courses. You also get connection with the group, which is basically infinite. And so this is something that once you sign into, you have friends for life, and you have something that you can keep accessing indefinitely. So, it's just a way for us all to get to something. And last, also what I want to say is just remember that, man, I've covered 13,000 books. Like, I have no clue of where I'm even at. Like, I don't even need to read anymore. Every time I start looking at something, I'm like, I already read that. I know some people say, hey, did you see this? Yep, seen that. And so all that knowledge and information, I feel like, is the quickening, because instead of you having to necessarily go through a lot of that stuff, that some of the stuff is just a waste of time and garbage, we demystify it. We basically synthesize it. And then we put it on a platter and we say, here's what was gleaned from that whole alien thing. here's what we learned. And so every single like mega field that could be like a lifetime of research, we simplify it as much as possible to allow the person to move on. And so what happens is that that's what creates this, what I would say is like the potency of the knowledge, where you can say something and it has 3 or 4 meanings to it, and it takes the person to sit back and decrypt it. So the university, and also remember the book, The Code to the Matrix, is on the internet, downloadable for free. Those kind of works, you could go back and read again and be like, dang, it's right there. Like, yeah, that's the same thing. So they have this, like watching a movie, that every time you watch it again, you're like, I didn't notice that last time, or that's what he meant, or I realized that. And I just feel like that's the most powerful and dynamic part of what we're doing is that every stage that you grow into, you see it different. It's almost like going back and reading a book at the awareness that you're at now, and then realizing that the book says something entirely different than what you thought it said when you read it before. Right. And so there's always that kind of depth to truth, because it does connect to our maturity. But we can't be afraid to enter the realm at times of the neophytes. Those are the people that are coming in right now. And as the word says, this is the new fight. So they love to duality and all of that. So if you moved on to the all-knowing and beyond, sometimes those kind of people, it's very difficult for them to go back into the whole neophyte scenario. Likewise, we have a lot of initiates. That makes up the biggest group in the conscious community. These are people who've already seen different spiritual systems, already been through different ones themselves, and they're still deciding. They're still kind of on the fence at what they believe, and they're formulating their own thing, which is great, but that makes up the bulk. And then you have this adepts, which are like, okay, son, you don't need to like keep breaking it down for me. Just tell me, what do we do now? And then that's, of course, when we get right into the action and we say, well, definitely get with us right here, because we're developing stuff right now. We're already meeting next Sunday. We got chats going on all day, 24/7, and it's happening. So that's what it is. So just understand the difference between what I feel like is the difference between this and so many other things is that we make a conscious effort every single day to see progress and to also make sure that others are getting progress. So that's what's up. And we're doing that out of the love, the compassion, as we call it, the compass to Zion. That's like the real depths of the divine feminine, divine masculine, which is, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what its story is. I'm going to assist it and I'm going to nurture it to its complete self, its complete growth, its uniqueness. That's why when you got a sickness or a disease, you know, generally if the mother is on balance, she's not going to reject you. She's even going to risk herself catching that disease just in order to get you well again. That's the compassion. And so we move with that compassion and we move with that together, and we know we're powerful enough to handle anything. So I want to say thank you, of course.
Yes, Sevan, as always, you